This is an upside down whiskey tube. But why? Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity. If it's Wednesday, we have a cocktail video coming at you today. So I'm going to do another tasting video. We've done a lot of tasting videos lately, but it's kind of something I'm interested in at the moment. So that's what I'm doing. This is sort of behind the scenes. I try to avoid watching other cocktail channels because I never want to steal anybody's ideas. I did accidentally kind of watch How to Drinks, where he's tasting random canned cocktails. That's what I'm going to do. I've been planning this actually for a long time. As I go through and try to put together videos where I'm tasting a bunch of canned cocktails against each other and also against the original recipe, you know, me making it, I've come across a lot of cocktails which are not real common and which I bought and I was going to try to fit them in somewhere, but I just never have. So I thought what I would do this time is just take all those ones where it's just kind of a one-off deal and just taste them and see what I think. We got this tube here, so what's going to happen is my lovely assistant is going to be pouring a cocktail. I'm going to come taste it. I will try and figure out what it is, and then I will reveal what it is. Pretty simple this time. I am interested in tasting these because a lot of these cocktails are not sort of maybe the most mainstream, or there's not tons of pre-made versions of them at least. So I'm kind of looking forward to see what they are. So without further ado, let's taste our first cocktail. Okay, we're back with our first cocktail. Now I should note this is not a double-blinded thing. I have a pretty good idea. I kind of grabbed them randomly off of my shelf, the excess cocktails that I had. So I kind of know what I'm tasting. I don't know which one I'm tasting at any given moment, except for one which is going to be kind of obvious. But let's try this first one. Wow, that is thin. It is. I'm guessing this is either a margarita or a Paloma, because I think I had a margarita and a Paloma both in there. There is a little bit of citrus. It's not massively oversweetened, which is good. This isn't a super sweet cocktail, which is good. The proof on this thing must be low, because I'm not getting much alcohol flavor at all. It's not terrible. I think this is probably the Paloma, if I'm guessing, because I do get like a little bit of grapefruit bite, just a very, very little bit of grapefruit bite. Yeah, okay, let's lift up our tube and see what it is. Oh, okay, so this is technically not a cocktail. I got this a while ago. So this is Bevy Long Drink. So this is it's not really technically a cocktail, but it's fine. I put this in there as well. It's a sparkling citrus refresher. And I think that actually is, I don't know, reasonably apt description of what it is. Yeah, I mean, it's not much. So, I mean, if you're looking for something that's just kind of easy drinking and a little refreshing, I think you'll probably enjoy this. It's, again, just a little citrus, tiny bit of sweet, and fizzy. And that's about it. So that means that as of right now, our Bevy is our #1 cocktail. We'll see if it stays there. Now, on to number 2. Okay, back with number 2 here. Hopefully it doesn't taste like number 2. I feel like I've got Paloma on my brain now. No, that doesn't taste like grapefruit though. It's citrus, but a lot of sweet. This is a real sweet cocktail. I know there's a margarita in it. This doesn't really taste like a margarita, but is this somebody's canned idea of what a margarita should taste like? Honestly, I'm gonna say that maybe that's the Paloma. I don't know. It feels like either the Paloma or the margarita. Again, a little bit of citrus, a lot of sweet. Oh, okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. Never mind, it doesn't. This is actually the Aviation. That doesn't taste like an Aviation. I guess there's that lavender kind of to the side. But I feel like in an Aviation, the lavender should be kind of front and center, and it should be very kind of a light and springy and refreshing. This is like kind of like a lavender soda kind of. I mean, it's not fizzy. It's not carbonated, but you get a little bit of lavender, but it's mostly sweetness. Good Aviation should be light, refreshing, that type of thing. I think, due to sweetness alone, we are going to have our bevy stay in number 1. Yes, we're going left to right. And our Aviation is going to go in number 2. I suspect that it will not stay in number 2. But we'll move on to number 3. Okay, as I said, this is not a double blind, so I think this one might be a little obvious given the consistency, but let's give it a shot. So, based on what I had in there, I'm assuming this is probably the Pina Colada. Doesn't taste like a Pina Colada. It's very creamy. It's not super over sweetened. And it does have the mouth feels nice. It's a good sort of level of creaminess. The flavors are kind of just, the flavor is just creaminess. There's not really much else there other than creaminess. So if this is just creamy in a can, then I think they probably hit the mark. But yeah, oh, okay. I think it's probably the Pina Colada, but I'm not sure. Oh, excuse me. This is the White Russian. That tastes nothing like a White Russian. It's not terrible. I don't despise it or anything, but it doesn't taste. There's not like I don't get any coffee at all in there. There's maybe just the tiniest hint of coffee kind of around the outside. It has no kind of bite to it. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just kind of nothing, to be honest. I think I will put it ahead of the Aviation. Because neither one is very good, to be honest. I feel like this, I could drink this and be happy with it. I couldn't drink that and be happy with it. It's just, it's too sweet. Yeah. All right, so we are moving on to the halfway point. We have 8 cocktails, I believe, total. And we are moving on to number 4. Okay, back with number 4. This is one of those ones I think is going to be pretty obvious. Again, just based on the visuals of it, I believe this is going to be the Jack and Coke. But I think it is interesting. Like I've seen these around before, and it kind of mystifies me why you would buy a can Jack and Coke when to make a Jack and Coke all you need are Jack and Coke. But let's see how close they got to a drink that I don't particularly care for. They've lowballed it with the alcohol. This just kind of tastes like a Coke. Yeah, if you're a big fan of Jack and Cokes, you're not gonna like this. It just tastes like a Coke. I don't know how to say that any clearer. There's no alcohol at all. Again, yes, surprising enough, it is in fact a Jack and Coke. This is 7%. I think they really undershot the proof there. They really did shot for at least 10 or 15%, I think. You know what? I think I have to, based on what this has to go in last place. Because they had the easiest job. They literally had 2 ingredients to work with, and they didn't do 2 ingredients. So, I'm sorry, Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola, but you have failed to make what is essentially the simplest drink that anyone could have. Let's move on to number 5 and hope things get a little bit better. I am beginning to get nervous because I'm saying that Bevy, after 4 cocktails, is still currently a number 1, which is not sitting well with me. So let us try this, whatever it is, and see if it starts to, I don't know, look a little better. That's not bad. It seems pretty low proof, but it's refreshing. This, I keep saying this. Maybe I'm just phantom tasting grapefruit. I feel like this tastes like the Paloma. I feel like I'm getting grapefruit in there. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's a little sweeter than it should be, but it's not like massively oversweetened like a lot of cocktails are. So I'm going Paloma. Wow. Could not be more wrong. So this is a bourbon whiskey sour. Sure. I mean, I love a whiskey sour. I don't know if it's my favorite cocktail in the world, but it is one I like a lot. This doesn't taste anything like a bourbon whiskey sour. And I don't say that it's necessarily bad. Actually, I don't even necessarily mind that flavor that much. But even now knowing that it's supposed to be a bourbon whiskey sour, it isn't. I don't know, what do they say what they actually used on here? It says made with premium Kentucky bourbon whiskey. It's also 9%. This is the problem with some of these canned cocktails or pre-made cocktails. A whiskey sour is mostly whiskey. So this thing should have a fairly high proof to sort of match that cocktail. I feel like they put in sweetness. Again, it's not as massively oversweetened as like say our Aviation was, but it is oversweetened. And it doesn't taste like what it's supposed to taste like. That being said, I think it's actually probably still good enough for second place. Because I don't dislike it. I would sip that. Again, still a little too sweet, but yeah. And we continue to move forward with Bevy Long Drink, which sounds like the main character in a children's book, in number 1. So let's hope that in the next 3 cocktails, we can find something than Bevy Long Drink. On to number 6. All right, so we're up to number 6. We have yet to hit one out of the park here, but I remain somewhat optimistic. I don't know what to say. Again, actually, kind of, I'm gonna taste the Bevy against this. Okay, this is better than the Bevy. This is better than the Bevy. It's not amazing. It's got a pretty sharp citrus flavor on it. In this case, I say pretty sharp in pre-made cocktail adjusted terms, not in comparison to actual fresh citrus. I think, God, I'm trying to think what we have left. It's citrus. I mean, that's the problem with tiki drinks when you sort of can them or pre-make them, is you pretty much just get kind of the basics, which is kind of a citrus and a little bit of alcohol, and that's kind of about it. Knowing my luck, this doesn't taste like a Paloma, but this will probably be the Paloma. I'm not getting any grapefruit on here, but I am going to go out on a limb and call this one the Paloma, because I've called every single one the Paloma so far. And I am a Moscow, that's a Moscow Mule? Oh yeah, you know what, I get that, I get it. Yeah, I think that's good. And actually this is Monaco. So in all the cocktail tasting videos we've done, Monaco typically punches above its weight and usually is better than most of the similarly sort of priced canned cocktails. This isn't bad. It's sort of, I see now what all I was tasting was citrus and nothing else, because that's basically what a Moscow Mule is, citrus and vodka. So the Bevy has finally lost out. It is number 2 now. And Monaco, a drink maker that I have tasted before and enjoyed before, is number 1. But there's still 2 left to go, and one of them is sure to be a Paloma. Okay, I am back with number 7, and this is sort of an impromptu episode. I just realized I don't have 8 cocktails, I actually have 9. So there is going to be 1 extra, so there we go. But we are now on to number 7, let's taste it. Okay, that has to be the Paloma. It actually has grapefruit on it. It's real grapefruit, I swear. If this isn't the Paloma, then nothing, because I'm probably wrong. That's not bad. So the citrus on the Monaco is just a little bit sharper. But I think overall I like the flavor in this one better. This is a pretty good one. I like that. It's got good citrus. Again, not quite as sharp as it could be. But what I'm assuming is the grapefruit is coming through nicely. And it's just, it tastes like a pretty well-balanced cocktail. I still don't think it would probably hold up against a freshly new made version of that, but it is not bad. Thank God. The Paloma. Yeah, this is Crook and Marker Organic Super Grain Alcohol. I don't think that means anything. Yeah, grapefruit lime. Real simple. It's good. That's a pretty solid one. If you see that, especially on sale somewhere, I would pick it up. The flavors are good. It tastes like a Paloma. Unlike the other ones, which I thought tasted like Palomas until I realized they, in fact, did not. But we're moving on to our number 8, which is not our last one, but our second to last. All right, we're back for number 8, which was supposed to be our last one, but I forgot I tossed another one in there, although I'm not sure what the other one is. So, let's give this a try. Ew. So based on what's left, I would assume this is probably the On the Rocks Margarita. It's very syrupy. It's very sweet. The citrus and the flavors feel very artificial. That's not good. But how not good is it? Yeah, again, so citrus is very good. Syrupy, artificial flavors, just, yeah, it doesn't work at all. I think that our Jack and Coke really has to be dead last just because it didn't do the simplest thing you could possibly do. Yeah, I think this is going to go down here in the second to last spot. I think the lavender in the aviation pulls it up just a tiny little bit. Oh, it isn't. Wow, this is a vodka mule. It's so interesting because if you compare it to the Monaco, which is essentially exactly the same cocktail, and that citrus just really comes out real vibrantly. And this just kind of, it feels a little musty. No, I don't like that very much. So, with 2 vodka mules, I didn't realize I put 2 mules in here. But Monaco is definitely the clear winner on this one. And let us finally move on to our last cocktail of the evening. My liver is very happy about that, and we will see what we think of that one. Okay, finally, we are on to our final, which is our number 9. I think I kind of already know what this is based on process of elimination, but let's give it a try anyway. Oh yeah, that's an On the Rocks. So this is the margarita. I'm just gonna. On the Rocks is a. It's been a similar problem with most of their prepared cocktails, and that is just adding way too much sugar. And it's funny because these are usually fairly high proof. Yeah, this is 20% alcohol by volume, which I think makes it the proofiest one on the table. Let's see here. I think actually I'm just going to go through and tell you what each one is. The Jack and Coke we said is 7%. The Cutwater Vodka Mule is 7%. The Aviation, which is another on the rocks, that's also a 20%, so it's going to be the same as the Margarita. Our White Russian is 13%, so that's the only one that gets into double digits so far. Our Bourbon Whiskey Sour is 9%. Bevy is 5.8, so it's going to be the low man on the totem pole. Monaco is 9%. And our lovely little Paloma is probably on here somewhere. Oh, 5%. So the Paloma actually is the lowest man on the Paloma is actually the low man on the totem pole. But I also think it's the best cocktail, so go figure. It's just very sweet. It's very, very sweet. And not even that kind of natural sweetness that I think is good. It's very syrupy kind of sweetness. I think it is very likely it is going to go all the way down here. So there we have it. This is our just random cocktails, canned cocktails that I've bought, over the past couple of years. They didn't really have anywhere else to fit in, so I figured to kind of try them all against each other. So in dead last, we have the Jack Daniels because it has to be there, because you can't make a Jack and Coke and screw it up, because it's the easiest thing in the world to make. And this one, you're just not tasting the Jack. I mean, nothing else to say on that. Next we have our Margarita from On the Rocks, just ridiculously sweet. Our Vodka Mule from Cutwater, which is kind of musty and just not very good. It has kind of those kind of artificial kinds of flavors and a little bit too sweet. Aviation, the only thing it basically gets right from the cocktail is there is lavender in there. Everything else is just kind of a syrupy mess. Then we get into the ones that I didn't hate. The White Russian's not bad. It doesn't taste like a White Russian. It just tastes like kind of a creamy cocktail. I didn't hate it. Didn't love it. It's okay. The Bourbon Whiskey Sour. Not a bad cocktail if you are not looking to drink a whiskey sour, because it doesn't really taste like one. The Bevy's not bad. It's a very light citrus kind of a fizzy drink. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a hard seltzer. It probably doesn't really belong here, but I mean, it says something that something doesn't belong here is in 3rd place out of 9. Then we get in our Monaco. Monaco's always been kind of a really solid flavor-wise. They managed to keep their citrus very kind of vibrant and alive, which is something that's very difficult to do in these pre-made cocktails. And number 1 is the one I was looking for the whole time, which is the Paloma. It's just nice and refreshing, and probably not as good as a fresh made, but still, you'll like that. You'll like that. Anyway, on that bombshell, I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good drink, and have a good day. The dog is just staring intently into the other room. It's kind of weird.